Today, Lily will give you a documentary on Elvis Presley, a legend of the 20th century. Please don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.
Elvis Presley is widely regarded as one of the most influential and iconic musicians in history. Born in Tupelo, Mississippi in 1935, Elvis grew up in a working-class family and was heavily influenced by the music of African-American artists like B.B. King, Ray Charles, and Fats Domino. In 1954, Elvis recorded his first single, "That's All Right," which became an instant hit and catapulted him to stardom. Over the next few years, he recorded a string of hits, including Heartbreak Hotel, Hound Dog, and Jailhouse Rock, that helped to define the sound of rock and roll. Elvis's music was a fusion of various styles, including rock and roll, country, blues, and gospel. He was known for his distinctive voice, his energetic stage presence, and his signature dance moves, which included his famous hip gyrations. Elvis's impact on popular music cannot be overstated. He helped to popularize rock and roll and influenced countless musicians in the years that followed. His music was a reflection of the changing social and cultural landscape of the 1950s and 60s, and he became a symbol of youth rebellion and counterculture. Elvis Presley is widely regarded as one of the most important and influential musicians of the 20th century. His impact on popular music is undeniable, and his contributions to the development of rock and roll and other genres continue to be felt today. Elvis's early recordings, made at Sun Records in the mid-1950s, were a fusion of country, blues, and rhythm and blues that became known as rockabilly. His unique voice, energetic performances, and charismatic stage presence made him an instant sensation, and he quickly became one of the biggest stars in the music industry. Elvis's impact on music can be seen in a number of different ways. One of the most significant is his role in popularizing rock and roll. While the genre was already being played by African American musicians in the 1950s, it was largely ignored by mainstream audiences until Elvis and other white artists began recording it. Elvis's success helped to bring rock and roll to a wider audience, and his influence can be seen in the work of countless musicians who followed in his footsteps. Elvis also helped to break down racial barriers in music. His music and his image appealed to both black and white audiences, and he was one of the first white musicians to record songs originally written and performed by African American artists. He also performed with black musicians and was a vocal supporter of civil rights, which helped to pave the way for greater integration in the music industry. In addition to his contributions to rock and roll and racial integration in music, Elvis also had a significant impact on popular culture more broadly. He was known for his unique style, which combined elements of country and rock with a flashy, often flamboyant look. His image and his music helped to shape the youth culture of the 1950s and 1960s, and he became an icon for a generation of young people who were looking for something new and exciting. Elvis's impact on music and popular culture has continued to be felt in the decades since his death. His music remains popular around the world, and his influence can be seen in the work of countless musicians who have followed in his footsteps. He has also been the subject of numerous books, documentaries, and films, and his legacy as one of the greatest musicians of all time remains secure. In addition to his music, Elvis was also known for his acting career. He appeared in 31 films between 1956 and 1969, and his performances helped to establish him as a major movie star. Elvis's acting career began in 1956 with the film Love Me Tender, which was released shortly after his first hit single. The film was a western that was loosely based on the story of the outlaw Jesse James, and Elvis played a supporting role as James's younger brother. Although his screen time was relatively limited, his performance was well received, and it helped to establish him as a potential movie star. Over the next decade, Elvis appeared in a number of films, most of which were musical comedies. These films were often formulaic and predictable, but they were also immensely popular with audiences who were drawn to Elvis's charisma and his unique blend of rock and roll and traditional movie musicals. Some of Elvis's most famous films include Jailhouse Rock, Viva Las Vegas, and Blue Hawaii. These films were light, breezy, and often criticized for their lack of substance, but they were also a lot of fun, and they showcased Elvis's talents as a performer. Despite their popularity, however, many of Elvis's films were criticized by critics for their formulaic plots and shallow characters. Some argued that Elvis was wasting his talents on lightweight musical comedies, when he could have been making more serious films that would have showcased his dramatic abilities. Elvis himself was aware of these criticisms, and he reportedly wanted to take on more challenging roles that would have allowed him to stretch himself as an actor. However, he was often overruled by his manager, Colonel Tom Parker, who was more interested in maximizing his client's commercial potential than in fostering his artistic growth. In the late 1960s, Elvis began to tire of the formulaic nature of his film career, and he began to push for more serious roles. He appeared in a number of films that were more dramatic and less comedic, including Wild in the Country and Charo. These films were not as commercially successful as his earlier efforts, but they allowed Elvis to demonstrate his range as an actor and to showcase his dramatic abilities. Elvis's acting career came to an end in 1969 with the film Change of Habit, which was a departure from his previous work. In the film, Elvis played a doctor who falls in love with a nun who is working in the inner city. The film was a critical and commercial disappointment, but it showcased Elvis's willingness to take on more serious and challenging roles. Despite the criticisms that have been leveled at his acting career, Elvis's films continue to be popular with audiences around the world. They are a testament to his unique talents as a performer and his ability to connect with audiences in a variety of different media. While his legacy as a musician will always be his most enduring contribution to popular culture, his films remain an important part of his legacy, and they continue to be enjoyed by fans of all ages. Elvis Presley's personal life was just as fascinating as his music and his impact on popular culture. He was known for his flamboyant style, his love of cars and motorcycles, and his relationships with a number of high-profile women. Elvis was born in Tupelo, Mississippi in 1935 to Vernon and Gladys Presley. He grew up in a working-class family, and his early years were marked by poverty and hardship. However, Elvis was always drawn to music, and he began singing and playing guitar at an early age. In 1953, Elvis moved to Memphis, Tennessee, where he began recording demos at Sun Records. It was there that he met his future manager, Colonel Tom Parker, who would play a significant role in shaping his career. Elvis's career took off in the mid-1950s, and he became one of the most famous and influential musicians in history. But his personal life was just as eventful. He was known for his love of fast cars and motorcycles, and he often spent his free time racing and collecting vehicles. Elvis was also known for his relationships with a number of high-profile women. He dated a number of actresses and singers, including Anne Margaret, Sybil Shepherd, and Nancy Sinatra. However, his most famous relationship was with Priscilla Presley, whom he met when she was just 14 years old. Elvis and Priscilla began dating in 1960, and they were married in 1967. Their relationship was often turbulent, and they separated in 1972, before finally divorcing in 1973. They had one daughter together, Lisa Marie Presley. Elvis's personal life was also marked by a number of health issues. He suffered from high blood pressure, an enlarged colon, and glaucoma, and he was often prescribed medications to treat these conditions. However, he also became addicted to prescription drugs, which would ultimately contribute to his untimely death. Elvis died on August 16, 1977, at the age of 42. His death was a shock to his fans and to the music world as a whole, and it sparked countless conspiracy theories and rumors about the circumstances surrounding his passing. In the years since his death, Elvis's personal life has continued to be the subject of fascination and speculation. There have been numerous books, documentaries, and films about his life, including the recent biopic Elvis, directed by Baz Luhrmann and starring Austin Butler. Despite the controversies and the complexities of his personal life, there is no denying the impact that Elvis had on popular culture. His music and his image continue to be celebrated and emulated by fans around the world, and his legacy as the king of rock and roll remains secure. One of the most interesting things about Elvis's legacy is the way that it continues to evolve and change over time. While he was initially dismissed by some as a flash in the pan, or a passing fad, his music has proven to be enduring and timeless. His influence can be heard in the work of artists as diverse as the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, and Michael Jackson, and his legacy continues to be celebrated and explored by new generations of fans. In recent years, there has been renewed interest in Elvis's life and music. His home, Graceland, has been turned into a museum and tourist attraction, and his recordings and films continue to be reissued and reinterpreted. There have also been a number of biopics and documentaries about his life, including the 2021 film Elvis, directed by Baz Luhrmann and starring Austin Butler as the young king of rock and roll. While there is no denying the impact that Elvis had on popular music and culture, there are also those who argue that his legacy is complicated by issues of cultural appropriation and racial inequality. Some have pointed out that many of Elvis's biggest hits were covers of songs originally recorded by African American artists, and that his success was built on the back of a musical tradition that he did not create. Additionally, there are questions about the way that Elvis and other white artists of his time were able to achieve success in a genre that was originally created by black musicians, but was largely ignored by mainstream audiences until it was embraced by white performers. Some argue that Elvis's success is a reflection of larger issues of racial inequality in the music industry, and that his legacy must be understood in the context of these broader social and cultural issues. In conclusion, the life and death of Elvis Presley continue to fascinate people around the world. He was a musical innovator who helped to shape the sound of popular music in the 20th century, and his impact on culture and society cannot be overstated. He was a charismatic performer who captured the hearts of millions, and his influence can be felt in the work of countless musicians who came after him. At the same time, the story of Elvis's life is also a cautionary tale about the pitfalls of fame and fortune. He was a man who achieved incredible success at a young age, but he also struggled with addiction, mental health issues, and the pressures of fame. His personal life was often tumultuous, and he was haunted by the memories of his difficult childhood and his complicated relationships with his family. Despite these challenges, Elvis continued to perform and to create music that resonated with audiences around the world. He was a consummate showman who understood the power of spectacle and the importance of connecting with his fans. His performances were electrifying, and his voice was one of the most distinctive and powerful in the history of popular music. In the end, Elvis's legacy is a complicated one, marked by both triumph and tragedy. He remains an enduring icon of popular culture, and his music continues to inspire new generations of fans. At the same time, his life is a reminder of the high price of fame and the dangers of losing oneself in the pursuit of success. Today, more than 40 years after his death, Elvis Presley continues to captivate and inspire people around the world. His music, his image, and his story remain as relevant and powerful as ever, and his impact on popular culture cannot be overstated. He was a true original, a one-of-a-kind talent, who left an indelible mark on the world of music and on the hearts and minds of his fans.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to keep up with the latest videos. Thank you.